and welcome to another episode of Punch the Timeline. This is the first time we're actually using our new name. Devin is here with me. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Dr. Devin.
Good afternoon, evening, whatever hell time it is.
Yes, Trent is not with us. He will be on our next episode, which will be Three Jokers #2. If you haven't read it, you better.
Oh, it is dark.
Dark.
Also, before we get too far, I know this is a DC podcast, but I did finally get around to reading my Department of Truth today.
Ooh.
I want more. Real bad. I want more. It started out kind of weird, but dear Lord, they got me.
That last page, man, I did not see that coming.
Neither did I, and holy Christ, I want more.
Yeah.
That's as much as I'll say, because this is not an image podcast.
We've got a lot of books to cover, but yeah, Department of Truth by Image Comics.
Oh,
seek it out.
Oh, it is worth every penny. Holy shit!
They're gonna put that on the collected edition.
I want that. I want the next copy now. Like right fucking now.
Yeah, I'll have to find out when that's coming out, because that's definitely something to discuss later on. Real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody for listening, because our numbers are up.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Getting responses from people, and it's cool to hear people saying, "Hey, I like your stuff." So
yeah, because it says like we got Oklahoma, California, Ohio,
New York, Texas.
Oh, New York. That's right. I forgot that was the other one.
Yeah,
that's cool as shit. That is genuinely awesome.
Yes. So thank you, and stick around, because the quality is going to get better. I've made some purchases, and right now it's what the problem is my Apple computer and my mixer and my recording software, they don't like each other. So I'm having to
big ol' fuck off.
Get all that figured out. And so hopefully this is the second to last time you hear me on my iPhone headphones, and you won't hear the mic rubbing against my beard when I'm doing sponsor posts. This is something we're doing called First Six. I've had this idea. I shot you a text. I'm like, how fast can you read 6 issues of something? And you jumped on it pretty quick. The reason I decided on 6 is because, like, nowadays books are collected almost automatically. You get the first 6 issues in a trade paperback, and it's they're written for a collection. And I thought that we could do that, but I'm using books from 1983, and this ends on a cliffhanger.
This does. I was kind of wondering that. I was like, why did he choose 6? Because technically this story does not end until 7.
Did you read ahead?
I did not yet, because I actually stayed up kind of late reading these, like prepping for this pod. And then I went to bed, and I had to be up early, and I read Three Jokers, and then I read Department of Truth. So I've been reading a lot of shit the past couple of days.
Well, I mean, I'm sure I will read. I'll keep reading, because it's
I want to, because there's not really even that many in the series. I think there's 38. Let me see. Yeah, 38 total copies, but actually the Batman and Outsiders ends at number 32, and then it changes to Adventures of the Outsiders.
Yes, if I didn't say it before, we're reading Batman and the Outsiders, issues 1 through 6 from 1983, created by Mike W. Barr with art by Jim Aparo, who is one of my favorite Batman artists.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I really liked the art for all 6 of these books. Like, a lot. All the heroes look good, but I think Batman looks particularly crisp.
Yes, Batman is Jim Aparo is one of the definitive Batman artists of his time. So let's jump right in. What's the first thing that pops out to you on issue 1?
First thing that pops up is Batman giving a big old middle finger to the JLA.
That's right. The cover is Batman saying, "I've had enough of your 2-bit Justice League. From now on, these are my partners." And I like that this book has, like, it's almost like a cover page. It's like, hey, here's the people, here's a situation that's going to happen. Turn the page and let's jump in.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. And also it starts with a really cool It starts with a really cool quote by John Keats as well.
There are plenty of quotes. Yes.
It's a
Yep.
pretty cool, it's almost like a second title page or like cover page after the cover page too, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, you've got a cover, and then you've got the first page. It's a splash page with the credits, and sometimes there's
War
a quote.
War's begun.
So we jump in with Bruce Wayne giving Lucius Fox a going away party, and this is taking place in his penthouse in Gotham. When I was reading Batman Family, I saw that Bruce Wayne had taken up residence in this penthouse, I guess, when Dick Grayson went to college.
Oh,
So
okay.
that leaves things open for when the outsiders do assemble. They have a nice little headquarters because Bruce had moved back to the mansion, and he's got this little penthouse just for fun.
Okay, I
But
was kind of wondering how the penthouse tied in because they talk about the fact that they weren't really sure what they were going to do with the with this penthouse.
so the whole thing is Lucius Fox goes on a going away trip, and he goes to the foreign
Markovia.
the foreign land of Markovia, and he is missing because there is a revolution going on. So of
It,
course, Batman being Batman, he goes to his pals in the JLA to assemble the troops and get out there, and it doesn't go the way he thought it would. Let's go to Markovia and get this figured out. And Superman says, "Hey, we talked to the State Department, and we're standing down." And there's very little conversation. It's just like, okay, then I'm out.
yeah, they're just like, we told the UN we wouldn't get involved. He's like, okay, then I'm not part of the JLA. Problem solved.
So he
Also,
rolls
can we talk about the fact that he calls this emergency meeting and shows up late? And then
naturally.
first, in classic Batman fashion, the only reason he can't do a Batman disappearance is because they're in fucking space.
So he teleports out in a pissed off mood. So Markovia is a fictitious European country, and we see the king is dying, and he's pleading with his sons to fight the oppressors of this revolution.
His sons Gregor and Brion.
And he's telling them, "Hey, go find your sister Tara." But more on that later.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure I already know who that is.
So, yeah, we're not going to go page by page on this because we got 6 issues to go through. But
Yeah,
basically,
we have a lot
the
of shit to
first
cover.
the first issue is there's a revolution in Markovia. Batman is going to roll in and try and get Lucius Fox out of there. So he's got to recruit Black Lightning to get in
Oh,
there
dude.
and help him
I
out.
likes me some Black Lightning.
Black Lightning is reluctant to use his powers at this point because something happened. And
It's not discussed until the second issue, I believe.
yeah, it's kind of glossed over, and they're like, "Why aren't you using your powers?" But there are other things at work. We've got other heroes showing up out of nowhere, really. Like Katana shows up, a Japanese woman with
Does a little stabby stab.
there's a little stabby stab, and then a girl named Halo shows up out of just goddamn nowhere.
Literally out of nowhere. She's passed out in a fucking building.
And she's like, zap. And so Batman's like,
as the sound effect says, wham.
yeah. And so there's turmoil in this country, and Batman's trying to get his guy out, and Prince Brion has hooked up with this scientist who's going to
Dr. Jace.
give him some superpowers to help his country. And he becomes the hero Geo-Force. I like how he gets into a superhero costume to get his powers.
Yeah, obviously you get this hero costume and then powers. You have to have your priorities. You have to have your shit, what's the word I'm looking for? Aesthetic.
Yeah.
Down first.
Metamorpho shows up, and why, how, what the hell? It's just like,
yeah, they did a really weird job of just like kind of throwing him in there.
This comic is
I mean,
really solid, but it's just like they just didn't have time to organically put all these people together. So they're just like, hey,
yeah,
people are gonna
they
show up.
basically just went, fuck, we've got like 6 people that we have to manage in this goddamn comic.
Because there's a lot going on that I was turning the page and I'm like, wait, did that happen? And like
Yeah, I had to flip back a couple times.
I forgot that that Geoforce got killed like 2 seconds into being a hero, but they threw him in the ground and he came back to life because his powers are
And also,
Earth based.
technically, Metamorpho did too, I guess. But it's not really that he died. He just kind of got disabled.
Yeah. So this first issue ends with Batman being captured, Black Lightning being captured. Like the heroes are all down. And we come face to face with the villain of the first 2 issues, Baron Bedlam, who is an absolute Nazi, a literal Nazi.
He is an actual Nazi. He's a Nazi sympathizer.
I do like that in issue 2 on the cover there is a Superman 3 movie sweepstakes.
Yeah.
So this
yeah, there is.
This is about the time that Superman 3 was out, which was the worst of the Superman movies.
Yeah, I only watched it like once, but what I remember of it, it was not great.
Yeah. So we get a little origin for Baron Bedlam. Black Lightning's got his issues that he doesn't want to talk about. Really, this is what the Outsiders kind of come together, not even because they have to. It's just sort of like a bunch of common goals coming together. And they're like, well, the only way we're going to get through this is to team up.
And also, we do find out the reason Black Lightning doesn't want to use his powers is the last time he used them, he killed a girl.
The second issue, they can't handle it. And then all of a sudden they decide to help each other out. And then everybody comes together and
everybody's cool.
Everybody takes everybody out. I like it shows the sign of the times that Batman's like, hey, Lucius, can you keep an eye on these guys? And he's like, Lucius Fox is like, yeah, I haven't pulled any active duty since I was in Korea. So we've got, which, that makes sense as Lucius is older in this, that he would be a Korean War vet.
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah. My favorite part of the second issue is that when they finally take out Baron Bedlam, what do they do?
Oh, dude.
What do they do?
They fucking throw his ass off the top of a castle down to the people to let them kick his goddamn ass.
This is not the Batman moral code that we know. So Batman's just like, meh, not my country, not my problem. Throw him to the people.
I know. I can dig it.
They literally throw him into the crowd of people with pitchforks and torches. And Batman says, I like the way your mind works.
He's like, we don't kill, but it's okay if they do.
So
give the people what they want.
I like this book, but I don't like the first 2 issues. I don't like the Markovia storyline. Like, I know it had to happen to get the book going.
It's kind of weak.
But yeah, it's just like, there are some holes in it.
Oh, we did kind of gloss over Halo a little bit, and the fact that she doesn't remember who she is at all.
And Batman's like, I'll call you Halo because you're glowing.
There it is.
Now, for me, issue 3 was really good. It's where it kind of takes off, and we had our origin story, and now we're going to, this is where the series is going. We're taking them to Gotham.
Yeah.
They're gonna live in this penthouse. And the fact that they're like, oh, well, Bruce Wayne is going to pay for everything because he's the nice guy.
Also, I liked the line at the beginning of this book, too, where it's showing the security guard that just says, Gus Baxter never thought of himself as a prophet, but then he never thought of himself as dead.
So to paint the picture here, Alfred is basically like, hey, I'm Batman's manservant, and Bruce Wayne is paying for everything. They actually stay at Wayne Manor for a minute, and then they move on to the penthouse. But it's just like, can you not put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah, there's a reason that he's the world's greatest detective, and they're not.
Yeah, it's kind of... it's kind of obvious, but I guess they're all just so shocked by what's going on in their lives. Metamorpho is trying to get a cure for his issues. Halo doesn't know who she
Wants to
is.
go be. Yeah, Metamorpho just wants to go back to being Rex.
Yeah, and that's creepy that he has like a human like suit.
It is kind of weird.
Because he'll just pull his face off.
Yeah, that's the part that unnerved me the most, was the face pulling off.
But this issue
wasn't really okay.
This issue, the villain is Agent Orange, who is a Vietnam vet. He's a guy in a suit with a gas mask.
And apparently horribly disfigured. Allegedly.
So they're finally getting established in Gotham, and Halo's like, screw it, I need a name, so call me Gabrielle Doe.
Because I don't like Jane. Yeah. And apparently she's really good at music.
But instead of being called Gabby, they call her Gaby.
Yeah, she's like, it sounds like maybe. Oh. And I was just like, that's a interesting choice.
Like, why?
I was like, that seems a little extra, but okay.
They finally get to their headquarters, and there's also the underlying issue of Batman's problems with Robin, which will come up very soon.
Yes.
But
also, I like how Katana is like, it's like, I'm not going to show you my identity because you're not going to show yours. And he's like, I already know who you are, bitch. Your name's Tatsu.
Yeah. And he's like,
kiss my
ass. But then he's like, oh, well, Bruce Wayne will be here tomorrow to tell you guys what to do. I'm not Bruce Wayne.
No, never.
So I like how we're both like tearing this book apart, but we did like it.
No, that's the thing, is we both like it. It's one of those things. It's like you would think that they could piece that together real easy.
So yeah, the book.
I can understand Halo not getting it because she doesn't really get much of anything right now.
Yeah, she's literally training to figure out her powers, and they yell at her a lot because they're like, "What are you doing? Why didn't you do this?" So this agent.
And she's like, I don't know what food is.
Agent Orange is just like, he's the first villain that steps up that they all have to grow together and learn to take these guys out.
Apparently, Halo has a weird phase shift power that we don't know of.
Yeah.
Or now we're
just learning all about Halo. And really, it's just kind of funny to watch the Batman training people and getting along with people and being a mentor. Because the obsessed ninja of now, who for some reason will only get along with the people he considers family, he wouldn't do any of this. He'd be like, "Oh, there's problems in your country? Sounds like a Markovian problem to me."
It's like, my family's here in Gotham, so you can all piss off.
So anyway, they all come together and they take out Agent Orange, who at the end does not have a disfigured face. And then
nope, he is in fact just a lying piece of shit to take advantage of poor down and out veterans.
It's almost like a Scooby-Doo ending, because he's like, I would have got with it wasn't for you damn kids. And then Batman looks at the reader and he's like, my war, the Outsiders' war, will never reach an end.
That's right, even though it technically does.
Technically, he's tired of them and leaves for the Justice League.
Because he's like, you know what? Maybe this was a bad decision.
The fourth issue is really where it kind of picks up. Yeah, because my notes go from like a couple of lines to like several lines as each issue from 4 on. So 4 is again more of them learning about their powers, and the villain that we're gonna have in this issue is called Meltdown.
The one-man Meltdown.
Badass costume, by the way.
It is a fucking cool costume.
This issue is more of like their day off that gets interrupted. My favorite part is the first few panels of the book. It's introducing every person. Like as they're having conversations, it'll have like the little script by them of like Geoforce, Metamorpho, Black Lightning, Katana, and it gets to Batman and it says, "You know him." There's a little humor in the writing, in the narration, which makes me laugh.
Yeah, it does a nice little. I don't know. I wonder. I don't know if it's just like the styling of the time, or if there was like a good little bit of time between the release of the 3rd issue and the 4th issue, as to like maybe reminding you of the characters. But I didn't look at it before.
I think that they stick with that thing of every everybody's first issue could be this one. So it's like how every Flash issue starts with, or used to start with, "My name is Wally West and I'm the fastest man alive."
But I mean, that's a good
it's
line.
The best line. And Wally West is the best Flash, but that's another episode.
That's a whole nother rant when we talk about the potential Flashpoint movie.
Oh God. Also, we've got Wayne Manor, we've got the Penthouse, and then Geoforce decides that he needs a building of his own that he's going to stay in with Metamorpho, and it's going to end up eventually be the Gotham Embassy for Markovia.
It's a real swanky place, too.
If you got money,
I mean, he is royalty.
So we've got Black Lightning has, starting over, and he's getting his approval to become a teacher.
But he's not happy that he gets approved to be a teacher.
He's a little reluctant. Everybody's got their issues. And then, damn it, Meltdown has to ruin everybody's day. And so Batman's barking out orders, and here we go again with the Outsiders.
All thanks to Warden Brewster. He's the one who tells Batman that he escaped, and then he's like, "Oh, he's out to kill you." And he's like, "Well, it's not the first time," and immediately flashes to him and Robin getting
Yes, there
zapped.
are a lot of Robin flashbacks, and it's like there's a tension. Batman and Robin are butting heads. Because he's like, "Well, how can I mentor this ragtag group of people if I can't even get Robin to stand in line with me?"
Yeah, because during this time, Robin is back with the Titans.
Yeah, I haven't read Titans back then, but I'm sure this is when he's in college too.
Yeah, this is when him and Wally and a lot of them are college age.
Which we will talk about here in a second, because
we will.
Another thing I wrote in my notes is like the art is great because Batman's cape is just popping. It is just
perfect.
Jim Raparo, like, I'm gonna have to do my top 5 Batman artists because I did my top 5 Superman artists on Instagram, and the art is just amazing in these books.
It is. Jim Raparo, it is phenomenal. It's easy to say, like, this is old art. I guess you could consider it old, quote unquote, if you're comparing it to today's standards. But I like this art a lot.
It's the classic Batman costume.
Oh, okay, yeah, I could see that.
That's how long this cat was doing Batman art.
I don't know. When I think of Batman, like, despite all the new Batman shit that I've looked at, this is the Batman that I think of. It's either this or it's like the 90s cartoon animated series.
That one of those two.
Those are like the two. That's just because I like that cartoon so much.
Issue 4 was really kind of a swerve because Meltdown was the villain, but he wasn't.
Yeah, it all boiled down to apparently the medical board didn't want to help him, and he's just like, "Well, fuck, I was gonna chill and just serve out my sentence, but now I got to find a way to live because I'm actually dying." So
Batman, of course, figures that out, and we're moving on to issue number 5, which really is a crossover issue with Teen Titans. And I didn't read that issue. I just kind of rolled into it like I was reading, Back then, you didn't know when a crossover was coming unless they told you like months in advance. So, and depending on how much you liked the book, you might not care if there was a crossover. So I just went on with it.
Yeah, I was interested to... I actually do want to go back personally. I want to see the events leading up to this, because clearly this was not the first part of the crossover. This was definitely the second part.
They got their asses kicked.
And they're drowning.
So they get out of that, and then they're all just, Batman's like, "Damn it, everybody meet up with me in Gotham." And there's the tension between him and Robin, because Robin's like, "This is my team, and you're bossing me around." So we get the interaction between the Outsiders and the Titans.
And the fighting leadership between Batman and Robin. And also, I have to say this before we go over it. Garth in this is still called Changeling, not Beast Boy yet. But also, he tries real hard to get Halo to give him mouth to mouth, and then proceeds to almost fucking die.
And that's when Batman's like, "Damn it, you guys, take this seriously." A lot of side eye from Robin in this issue.
lot of side-eye from Robin in this issue.
And I get it, it's like Batman has issues with Robin pulling away, and then Robin's like, this is my team, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the first lines Robin says whenever Batman starts barking orders, it's always the same. Every time I step out on my own, he steps in, and it's back to being the boy wonder thing for Robin. Like, he's been leading a team for a long freaking time, and then just like the second Batman shows up, he's just like, get the fuck out of my way.
It really is.
My
like,
thing
anytime
now.
There's something that happens, Batman jumps in and is barking out orders. And I can't stop laughing, by the way, at the radio in Robin's belt.
The radio in Robin's
11.
belt? Hold on.
He's got like an earbud plugged into his belt, and there's a fucking speaker.
Oh my god, you're absolutely right. I missed that entirely.
His Batman's like, do this. And he's like, hey, I'm listening to the radio here in my belt.
Belt radio. It's all the rage now. Gang is up against, because we haven't said it yet, is up against the, Fearsome Five. Which it consists of, what all is it? Jesus Christ. It's Dr. Light, Simon, Shimmer, Mammoth, and Gizmo.
And I only know Dr. Light, so I didn't take these guys seriously at all. They weren't that fearsome.
Okay, so I knew of, funnily enough, I actually knew Mammoth, Gizmo, and Dr. Light from the Teen Titans TV series that played. Because Gizmo and Mammoth were like two of the first villains introduced, along with the Hive. Dr. Light was a villain in that too, and then I actually knew of Simon from the Young Justice TV series, where him and Megan, whatever her superhero name is that escapes me all of a sudden, have like a fucking telekinetic battle, and she basically like cripples him,
basically this is a crossover with the Outsiders doing a bunch of stuff with Titans villains.
Yep.
So really the interaction that pops out to me the most, of course, is the back and forth between Batman and Robin. And I knew that,
for sure.
One, it's a crossover, and two, it's like, you don't take this threat seriously. This is a book for the Titans and the Outsiders. This is the Outsiders getting the rub from the Titans. They're like, hey, I used to use a wrestling term. They're like, hey, if you like Titans, why don't you check out this new book, The Outsiders, Batman and the Outsiders.
This was because I think I remember from one of the earlier ones, like, this is the new Titans. So this is like right after they came back, and I think the issue prior, like the one that led into this comic, was actually only number 37.
That is correct.
So that is not, like, that's pretty new into the returning series. So I would understand why the Titans was like the shit right around that time.
At the very end of this book, of course, everyone's triumphant. And there's this embrace between Geoforce and Terra from the Titans, who is his half-sister, which I'm sure they discovered in Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's probably
there is
a
lot of foreshadowing of Judah's contract. A lot.
Yes,
because
there
Terra is thinking to herself, I have to betray this team, and I don't want you to go down with them. And at the same time, Batman is finally giving a stamp of approval with Robin. They shake hands. Life is good for the Teen Titans. And if you read Judah's contract, if you're not like Trent and you could put up with the art, how can he not put up with George Perez's art, by the way? I know, like, Trent,
I like George Perez.
This is why Trent's not here. He had to leave the room for not liking Judah's contract.
If he didn't like that, he couldn't like this. So, well, I mean, that's not necessarily true, but that's our philosophy.
Again, good book, good issue at least, and there's just like, I like the interaction between the outsiders, and I don't really care as much about the Titans at this point because I'm trying to get to know this team more, which really leads us to issue 6, which is really my favorite of this 6th issue of the 6 issues we read, because it's fleshing out the story more. Too. You're getting into that's what I like is like why you do 6 issues is because you got to lay the groundwork, you got to do your origin story, you got to set everybody up, you got to have some adversity, and then you have
finally. Yeah, and I'd say like I definitely like issue 6, probably the most out of all 6 that I read. Even though Dick Grayson was in issue 5, you know my feelings about how much I fucking love. I loves me some Grayson in my life.
It's a great issue because they're starting to flesh out the characters. It's not just some superheroes who fell together in a random European country and decided to team up. You're getting to know them better. Halo has to go to school. Oh, because we forgot they estimate that Halo is 16 years old.
Oh, yeah, we completely glossed over that. Yeah, so Halo is like a fucking teenager in comparison to everyone else who is like at least in their early 30s.
Katana is
probably
like Halo's roommate, and they've got this, dynamic of the cranky, irritated Katana, and then you got Halo who's like la-di-da, I don't want to go to school, which is exactly what
I don't want to go to school. I want to go risk my life fighting stuff.
So Katana is going to school, but Black Lightning is going to be her teacher. And so she doesn't want to go to school because she's scared. And then because it's the 80s, Katana's like, if you go to school, we'll go to the movies tonight. And then we can play video games, which probably means Atari.
And then, but not just any movie. Halo wants to go see Star Trek again. So that puts a good time stamp on this comic.
I don't even remember if I've seen Star Trek or if this is Star Trek, like OG Star Trek. Is it Star Trek or Star Trek 2? Bruce Wayne, good old Bruce Wayne stumbles in kind of half drunk, deciding he's going to give Katana something to do with her time and buys her a Japanese bookstore.
Never done this shit in my life.
Go with it. So.
Yeah, and the best line, but according to your code of Bushido, doesn't Batman own your sword?
Oh, Bruce.
Not Bushido.
Yeah, he's got to act like
Bushido
to keep up.
I know, but it hurts my soul a little bit.
She refers to Batman as useless, or Bruce Wayne is useless, which cracks me up.
Yeah, it really makes the duality of it pretty good, though.
Why? Oh, Metamorpho and Geoforce are visiting Dr. Jace at the hospital, and for some random reason,
because she got. I know it's not random. At the end of issue 5, they had Dr. Light in custody, and then he ended up getting out and knocking her on the head.
To give them something to do. Of course, this random girl is introduced, and some shit goes down because Cryo Man is the villain in this. The Cryo Man is creepy.
Cryonic Man, I think is the name that Batman gives him, and he is creepy.
At first, he's just some dude in a suit with a mask. Cryonic Man. Why did I put down Cryo Man? Cryonic Man. And he's there to steal body parts, and this poor girl just wants her kidney transplant.
Yeah, this poor girl is getting
artificial.
What
kidney.
Is it? It's like a special, like, yeah, it's an artificial kidney. Like some really famous, like engineer made it, and this dude's over here just trying to fucking steal it. Like, come on, don't steal a kidney from a little girl. What are you, a fucking? I think in my notes I wrote, "Cryonic Man is a dick and steals it."
Cryo Man is stealing body parts because I wasn't paying attention. But Cryonic Man has like a suit on, and he's got like tanks, and he shoots out. What the fuck is that? Like cold?
It's
there you go.
I think it's liquid nitrogen is what it actually is. If I remember from a later panel.
Yeah, God, that was just creepy because we'll come back to poor Black Lightning here, but
Cryonic Man
is like lives in an abandoned house underground, and there are 3 people that he's frozen cryonically, and he talks to them telepathically, and they think it's still 1955, and you're looking at him, and he has borrowed one of the people's legs.
It's pretty fucked.
So
and from the panels that I've seen, I think one of the people is his wife.
And then one of them is a professor, and then the professor's wife. Like, there's so much backstory that I need to know, which is probably in the 7th episode or issue.
Yeah, it's probably in the 7th issue, which we missed by that much.
I just roll with this concept, and yeah,
it's something to talk about later on, maybe.
Because this issue ends on a cliffhanger.
Of everyone getting frozen solid.
Them all. Ends with them, they're dead already. That stuff is liquid nitrogen, they're dead already. And because I said read 6 issues, we have left Batman and the Outsiders dead. Whoops. So,
well, shucks.
If you have DC Universe, if you have a local comic book store, get this, read this. This is really a cool throwback book that I will definitely be reading.
It is. Yeah, I want to finish out this series. Like, I'd be willing to read the rest of these and just like talk about them all the way through until the end of the Outsiders.
We should do some deep dives on Batman and the Outsiders.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a long series. There's only 38 issues, so
that is doable.
It would be doable.
I have a proposal for the next one because I know that this is 6 issues that will tell the story and then move on, so we won't be leaving on a cliffhanger. The Grifter.
All right.
Grifter from Wildcats had his own solo series in the mid-90s. And the first 6 issues are the most perfect way to start a solo series when you get a guy from a team book. Like, I read that all the fucking time because I am Captain Physical copies. I have those books. So I think me and you should read Grifter 1 through 6 and report back.
I will. Here, let me add that to my list right now. It's my pod research list.
So
there we go.
So
it is.
We give there. Batman the Outsiders a thumbs up. It gets better with every issue. I feel like
Yeah, it definitely starts off weird in the first 2 issues, just because I feel like they were just like, we have to introduce these characters and then get to where we need to go.
It's a fun read. It's not something that gets dragged down. It's not something that you're like, God, can I get to the next issue because this one's boring. It's a really fun read. So I definitely recommend that you check out Batman and the Outsiders from 1983. Looks like next time we're going to do Grifter. But the next time that we are back on this podcast, Trent will return and we will discuss 3 Jokers number 2. My God, so dark.
It is dark. It's so good though.
It's like I don't know where this is.
It's so good.
What? I get all stuttery just thinking about it.
There are so many avenues that this third and final chapter of this
Yes,
story could
because
take.
we can't even talk about it because we don't want to spoil it, and we need Trent's opinion on it. So, Trent Laws, get ready. The man will be back. You can find us on Instagram at Punch the Timeline. If you're on Twitter, we're on Twitter, but apparently Punch the Timeline has one too many characters, so we are Timeline Punch on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Grumpy Old Jarrod if you want to talk, but I'll probably just blow you off.
And I have my own personal Twitter and Instagram, which is good guesswork. It is my my Twitch streaming handle, which you can find me there over on Twitch every now and again.
That's what we're all about. You can find us everywhere. So thanks again for listening. Thanks to everybody who is, listening, texting me, giving me thumbs up.
Thank you for the support for the new pod. It is super cool. I didn't think I'd ever be a part of something like this. So seeing people who are actually interested, listening in, makes me it gives me a feeling I've never actually had before. And yeah, which is really cool. If
anybody wants to get involved, hit us up. Punch the Timeline is for everyone. So if you want to move us in a direction, if you just want to hear us talk about something, or if you want to come on and talk with us, hit us up. Hit us with a DM.
Or if you good six comic series that you want us to read for this little iteration that we've started.
We want to interact with everybody as much as possible. So the next time we see you, 3 Jokers. After that, Grifter. After that, who the hell knows? But thanks again for listening. Dr. Devin, thanks for coming on. Thanks for reading those books so damn fast.
As I will if I can, and I like reading comics.
It's been Punch the Timeline. We will see you next time.